Hey everybody, I'm Sarah from SidetrackSarah.com, and today I'm going to be doing a video on how I put together, or not only just put together, but cook after they've been put together, my Instant Pot freezer meals. So this is just a what's for dinner video. I show some of the steps I take on cooking day on those Instant Pot freezer meals, and I show what the finished product looked like. Now, when I started making these videos, life was looking good. I was really motivated, and then things kind of fell apart. I ended up getting COVID from my 100-year-old grandfather, which is a whole different story. It was kind of crazy time. And so you'll notice that in this video, at first I'll be like detailed in like showing myself putting it from the freezer bag into the Instant Pot, and then later I will have forgotten those steps and I will still get video, but it's just not as perfect as I'd like it to be. But I'm not perfect by any means. I know you guys know how that feels. So anyway, it is like 1 a.m. I'm trying to finish getting this video done. I have it almost all done, and I thought I needed to record this intro. No makeup, nothing. You guys will just have to forgive me for my amazing looks today. My hair is needing some help, but I am just me and I am comfortable with that. So I hope you guys are too. All right, so let's see. Anything I needed to tell you about this? All right, I've got 5 meals. Several of them are soups. I didn't necessarily mean to do that many soups in one, but you'll see. You'll just have to see what it looks like. So tune in, and I will link to the assembly video above so you can check that out as well. So you can see how I assembled it really fast. I actually assembled 6 meals, but one of them, once I got sick with COVID, I had defrosted it and had stuck it in the freezer so I could make it that day, and then all of a sudden I had to quarantine away from my family. So my family had no idea it was there. I totally forgot about it. I came back and it was still in there, and it had been 2 weeks. So anyway, I hope that you guys enjoy this video, and thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you'll subscribe. There will be more of these and more freezer meal assembly plans, and there will also be lots of crock pot and Instant Pot both. So this channel is all about easy food for busy people, and I know you're busy like I am, and we just like to get our families fed and not have to spend every waking moment in the kitchen. For this first recipe, the Kielbasa Soup, I had it pre-packaged and ready in my freezer, in this freezer bag, and I will put a link to the other recipe where I show myself assembling them. I did have to add some chicken broth because my freezer bag was very full and I didn't want to overflow it, so I saved some of the chicken broth to add later. And then all I did was stir it up a little bit, and then once that's stirred and it looks like everything's well mixed, then I'm going to put the lid on and make sure the valve is closed, and then set the timer for 10 minutes with a quick release. That also took 10 minutes to release all the pressure. You can see what it looks like whenever I first open the lid. You got to give it a good stir to get all the spinach mixed in, and then you can dish it up into bowls. Our family really liked serving it with a little bit of Parmesan, like grated Parmesan cheese on top. You'll see that the sausages kind of exploded. You could go ahead and pre-brown them on the skillet if you wanted to. My husband would prefer that method, but if you're in a hurry and that doesn't bother you, then this was very delicious and edible. So don't let the not browning the sausages get in your way. This was definitely one of our family favorites of recent soups that we've tried. For this Instant Pot round steak and veggies recipe, I already had pre-assembled the meal in a freezer bag so that I could just grab it and go on one of my busy days. On this particular meal, I didn't let it thaw all the way. I had forgotten to get it out. And so I just stuck it into the microwave on defrost for a few minutes just to get it to break up enough to fit into my Instant Pot. Usually when I do that and it's still frozen, I usually add at least 5 minutes to 10 minutes per pound on to the cook time. I realized after I took the lid off that I had never put the potatoes in, so I decided to quickly chop up some potatoes and put them in for 10 minutes since they were sliced and they would cook okay. And here's what it looks like once I took the lid off after I had released the pressure. It ended up soupier than I thought it was going to, a little more like stew. On this soap a day maize recipe, also known as corn chowder, I went ahead and put this in and cooked it for the 10 minutes it called for in the recipe. Sometimes I let that go on for 20 minutes if I don't want to let it natural release at all, because I'm kind of impatient about the slow release, natural release. And so anyway, once I did release the pressure, I pulled all the chicken out so that I could cut it up into bite-sized pieces. Or, I mean, even shred it would have been just fine. I usually just chop it into pieces. Sometimes I use my scissors straight in the pot, and sometimes I pull it out and just chop it like I'm doing right here. And then I ended up putting it back into the Instant Pot, as you can see, and stir that in. And then once I'm done stirring that, I add some milk. It's time to dish it into bowls, and it's very, very good. I will link to this individual recipe down below in the description. For this Instant Pot coconut pork curry recipe, I had pre-assembled the meal and put it into the Instant Pot, and then before I cooked it, I needed to add coconut milk. I was a little surprised how the coconut milk had to be spooned in and not poured in, but then it was time to cook it in the Instant Pot with the valve sealed, of course, for 70 minutes for a 4-pound roast. I will link to the other video that shows where I assembled that. And this is what it looked like when it was done. And I just take that out and shredded the pork up and then put it back in. Once again, it was really soupy. You could thicken that up with some cornstarch if you wanted to, or in another way. I ended up serving mine over potatoes just because I had it on hand. It's not really what you would normally do, but usually you would put it on rice or pasta of some kind. Rice is the typical thing, but on potatoes, it was actually very good as well. For this Instant Pot turkey breast, all I did was buy a pre-frozen turkey breast and waited until I was ready to cook it to pull it out, and I threw it in the Instant Pot with the seasonings that came in the bag. If you didn't have any seasonings, you could add some salt and pepper or some lemon pepper. I cooked that for 6 minutes a pound, but I think since I was cooking it from frozen, I added about 10 minutes onto it, so for 40 minutes. And then here's what it looks like when it first comes out, and it steams up my camera lens. And then this is how we served it. My kids were wondering why we were eating Thanksgiving dinner, but they all actually really loved it. So I think that this will be a hit for your family as well, if you like turkey, of course.